Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, and Mark Morgan with you from Austin. Darrell K. Royal, Texas Memorial Stadium on an absolutely perfect day for college football. Missouri in town at 4-1. Texas also at 4-1. Missouri took the opening kick. And in the first play from scrimmage, a 28-yard pass from Brad Smith to his tight end Martin Rucker. But here they are over the middle, and Thompson Umboga across midfield. And another good gain into Texas territory. Brad Smith, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio, moving the team on this first series. And the running numbers a little bit down this year, but the passing numbers are up. He's got over 8,000 total yards, Jamal, in his career.
Yeah, Brad Smith is a fantastic talent. Like you said, Terry, he rushed for over 1,400 yards last year. He has an opportunity in this football game and the next game to eclipse so many Missouri records and also move into the top 10 rushing quarterbacks of all time in NCAA. So he's definitely a threat that they got to slow down.
But it brings up fourth down for Missouri. Aaron Ross, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas, back deep at his own 10-yard line. Matt Haynes, the punter. This is maybe just a tad bit too good. Just ends up in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20, a punt of 48 yards. So we are underway here in Austin. Texas trying to come back after that loss to Oklahoma. And Vince Young, the sophomore from Houston, who was just 8 for 23 last week against Oklahoma. You hate to see a young man take some hits, but he certainly has in the media here after that performance. And Mack Brown said we have to throw the ball better than we did.
Yeah, no question about it. And you sit down and talk to Greg Davis, offensive coordinator. He says, you know, we knew coming into this football season that we were going to be a running team, that we were going to primarily have to run. We have 3 wide receivers who are on our roster last year who are gone now, and they knew coming in that they were going to have to get Vince downfield throwing the ball.
Play action, Young on the rollout, incomplete. Tony Jeffrey, the intended receiver. Check our starting lineups, our backs and receivers. Cedric Benson, number 2 in the nation in rushing, 162 yards per game. Jeffrey, a question mark. That's why we don't have his picture up there.
Right.
And he had a shoulder injury last week against Oklahoma, but he is in the starting lineup. Lima Swede also getting a start for Brian Carter today. But we will see Carter. Young wideouts after the trio of very good wide receivers left, including Roy Williams. Well, that has been one of the problems for Mack Brown this year. Problem last week. I mean, they were 4-0 going into that game. Here's the quick pitch out to Benson, who turns the corner. Gain of about 7 for Cedric Benson, the senior from Midland, Texas. Offensive line, it is a good one. And Jason Glenn, the man who has started for 4 years, 32nd consecutive start, he makes the calls on that offensive line, going against a solid defensive front for Missouri, especially the tackles. Atia Ellison, C.J. Mosley, 3-year starters, 2 of the Big 12's best. So it brings up 3rd and 3 on this opening drive for the Longhorns. 2 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far. Out of the gun is Young. He's going to run it and has a Texas first down across the 30 up to the 33. The Missouri defensive unit, a very good one. The top total defense in the Big 12. There's your linebackers. Henry Sweato had a big game last week in the win over Baylor, gets a start. Kinney, a very good weak side linebacker, and Jason Simpson, they put him in a position to make big plays, and he's done that. He had a pick last week in the road win against Baylor, and that was the first conference road win for Missouri since midseason 2002. And there you see the top overall defense in the Big 12. There goes Benson. He's got a hole, busts it back across midfield, lost the ball momentarily to the 43, and now they'll sort it out.
Yeah, obviously, Terry, that was a problem last week with Cedric Benson. He did have 92 yards rushing, but he had the critical fumbles in that game against OU.
Got it back here, though, so a big gain for the Longhorns.
You get a look at Cedric Benson here. Makes a nice cut on the inside, but he runs into his own man. That's tough right there. Ball gets jarred loose, and luckily they recover the football.
Spotted at the 44 of Missouri. Call it a gain of 23. Yeah, he's had the 4 fumbles the last couple of weeks. So for a guy who's one of the top rushers in the nation, that's certainly and a guy who they have to rely on, Jamal, because the passing game has not really been there. Young on the play fake, keeps it, and inside the 35 down to the 33. Get a look at the quickness of Vince Young. David Overstreet finally stopped him after a gain of 12.
Yeah, you talk about how do you get a young quarterback like Vince Young to get on fire early? How do you get him rolling after a tough game against Oklahoma? The first series of downs you see from Texas, he's involved in all the plays. You have a play action on first down, then you have him rolling out and running forward, and then you have another run by Vince Young. How do you get an athletic guy like this going already? Keep him on the run. Keep him moving.
Second leading rusher for the Longhorns on the year. He's got 290 yards now on the ground, and he looks for more here. Young over the left side, down to the 23. So right now, the Longhorns moving the ball against a very solid Missouri defense.
Yeah, Missouri defense comes in here, total defense #1, and you see the rankings right here. Scoring defense 3, passing defense are 2, and in rushing defense are 3rd. They average giving up less than 100 yards a game, and obviously Texas is intent on challenging that today, Terry.
Last few years, they've gotten it done with offense. The defense a little suspect, but Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, has been playing awfully well so far this year. In fact, they've created 9 turnovers the last 3 games. But straight ahead, they'll move the chains with the fullback, Will Matthews. It is not a stat that Mack Brown really wants to see again, but they have played awfully well after losses to Oklahoma the last 4 years. Colorado, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Iowa State last year. Vince Young's first start. Wins in each of the last 4 years in the game after Oklahoma, and those have all been on the road. So here they come home to Austin this time. Benson fights his way down to the 11. Let's check in for more on that with the 3rd member of our crew, Mark Morgan.
Now, not only has Texas been very resilient in the week following a loss to the Sooners, but somehow the Longhorns have been able to carry that redirected effort through the rest of the regular season. In fact, Texas has lost one regular season game in the last 4 years post-Oklahoma. Now, yesterday, linebacker Derek Johnson told me that the veteran players tell the young guys, hey, you got to have a short memory, and also defensive tackle Roderick Wright said you just drop it, you don't worry about it, and we seem to get rolling again.
Easier said than done, but Mark, you're right. They've been able to do that the last 4 years. Young fighting his way inside the 10, close to the 9. That's where he needs to get to for the first down. Phil Pitts, the senior from Jefferson City, Missouri, on the hit.
I tell you what, Terry, for a young quarterback, after all the criticism, the tough loss, and the consecutive losses against Oklahoma, Vince Young looks really, really composed right now. And Greg Davis said, we got to sprint him out. We got to keep him out of the pocket. We got to keep him moving. We've obviously, he said, I didn't anticipate having such a tough time throwing the football this season. We knew it was going to be harder, but we got to do whatever we can to get this guy rolling again, and obviously it's working.
3rd and we'll call it 2. Benson dropped the football, and Missouri had it initially. Did they keep it? Looked like the Tigers came up with it. C.J. Mosley was there right away, and we'll wait for the official signal. Tiger football.
What a tremendous turnover when a football team is doing basically whatever they want, marching down the football field. It must have something happens in the exchange. Cedric is not close enough. The pocket isn't big enough. Vince kind of sticks it in there a little bit, and Cedric's reaching for the football. And that is always, you're always going to have a fumble in that situation. You look at C.J. Mosley, the big defensive tackle, dives right on the football.
Hard to read his mind, Jamal, but it looked like he didn't expect to get the football.
Yeah, well, you know, in that exchange, you go to the sideline and you work on it, and it's like, okay, what happened? Cedric Benson has to give the quarterback a bigger pocket on that football. You can't, you got to run, as a running back, you got to go to the hole where you're supposed to be going. The quarterback's job is to get it to you. I don't know what happened on that exchange.
10th turnover created by Missouri in the last 3 games. Brad Smith brings them out. Marcus Woods, the backup tailback, out near the 20-yard line. Big gain again on first down. So it's Brad Smith leading the way at the quarterback spot. Our backs and receivers for Missouri. Damian Nash, normally the starter, coming back off a knee that kept him out last year, has played awfully well. They'll play a couple of tight ends, including Rucker, very often. In fact, on that first big pass play, first play from the line of scrimmage, it was Rucker with a gain of 23. So they moved the chains after Woods picked up 10. 1st and 10 at the 20. Ekwer was in motion. Now catches it right at the line of scrimmage, but swarmed under by Cedric Griffin. Offensive line for Missouri, an experienced one, including Tony Palmer, a 3-year starter, all Big 12. A number of those listed last year, going against a Texas defensive line led by Roderick Wright, the preseason All-American who has battled a high ankle sprain all year long and has 12 career sacks. A tough injury to play with, but he's fought through it.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And they need Roderick Wright, particularly in a game like today when you have a quarterback like Brad Smith who's so dangerous running in and throwing the ball.
Smith's going to keep it across the 25 to the 26, and bring up third and about 4, maybe 5. Linebackers Harris and Johnson, two of the best, and Derek Johnson may just be the best linebacker in the country. The secondary led by Philip Giger, 11 tackles last week against Oklahoma. The senior leader Michael Huff has also had an extremely good year in that secondary. Two safeties are very good ones for the Longhorns. 3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Out of the gun, Smith on the roll, throws it up, incomplete. Mboga. And good coverage by the Texas secondary, including Giger.
Yeah, you know what's interesting to me, Terry? Brad Smith hasn't been under a tremendous amount of pressure so far. I mean, and it's odd. I know they're worried about his running possibilities, and you can see Derek Johnson kind of screening him.
Thompson and Mboga injured. Yeah, he landed hard.
Oh.
Penalty on that play going against Missouri, but it will be declined, of course. Bring it up 4th down.
So it's no wonder that he had a lot of time. I'm like Brad Smith sitting back there all day in the pocket. These guys are holding.
For good reason. So 7:56 left in the first. Aaron Ross back deep, this time at his own 41. For those of you who watched the Oklahoma-Kansas State game, the Sooners tested on the road today, but coming through in the end. Big 12 has been awfully interesting this year. Into Texas territory, and they'll down it at the 46. A punt of only 27 yards. In the kicking game, Texas could have the edge today. 80,000 on hand here in Austin to watch Missouri take on Texas. Scoreless tie here in the first. Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, and Mack Brown and the Longhorns trying to come back off of that loss to Oklahoma. No matter how many times you say it, we're going to come back. You know, we're going to be able to get back up. They gear so much of their season toward the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, they do, which is unfortunate because so much of the attention is focused on that one loss every year. But they have a tremendous record after that. The last 4 times we showed the graphic, they were on the road and they won, and now they're finally at home. So everybody was excited to see this team come back and want to see this team bounce back and see what they can do.
Long drive on their first series, but the fumble by Cedric Benson. He has the carry across midfield to the 49 of Missouri. We talked to Mack Brown about just that, his approach after the Oklahoma game and coming back with his.
Don't ever get beat, but if you do, don't let the same team beat you twice.
Heard that from a number of players this week, too. Don't let the same team beat you twice. Ryan Carter wide open. Great opportunity for Vince Young, but the throw was wide.
You're talking about great opportunities. That would have been something right there that Vince Young could have built on. Now they're in a situation where it's 3rd and 7. Come out and run Cedric Benson, try to hit the fumble out of his memory. But it just misconnected right there.
Brings up 3rd and 6, and Young needs to get something early to build that confidence.
Yeah, no, I like what Greg Davis was doing. They were moving Vince Young all over the pocket. They had him run pass options a couple times in the first series, and they did a great job of getting down inside until the fumble.
Going to roll out this time on 3rd down. Throws on the run, but behind his intended receiver, Tony Jeffrey. Go to New York. Check in with John Saunders. Right. All right, John. Good one going on there. Heard John Daly talking about that matchup at the Chrysler Classic in Greensboro yesterday. Big Arkansas fan. 4th and 6. So Texas to punt. Richmond McGee with Thompson and Mboga back with a fair catch and a great bounce for the Longhorns. Inside the 5. They're going to down it at the 3.
What a tremendous bounce.
46-yard punt. Richmond McGee has done that often this year. The Tigers backed up inside their own 5-yard line as they take over when we're in Austin.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day, but unfortunately for Missouri, you talk about streaks you want to break. This is their 3rd drive, and they're starting in worse field position each drive. They started in the 20, then the 10. Now they're on the 3-yard line.
They have moved the football. Not enough to sustain a drive, but certainly to give them room. And the crowd now alive. Quick drop, and that one's picked off. Touchdown, Longhorns. Brian Robinson, the sophomore from Splendora, Texas.
That was a tremendous play by Brian Robinson. This is a mistake that you do not see often with Brad Smith. He only has 2 interceptions this year, but he was staring at the receiver on the left side of the field the whole time. Brian Robinson makes a tremendous play for a defensive end. Guys who usually can't catch just jumps up and grabs the ball and walks it in for a touchdown.
Can't get it done with your offense. It's a great way to do it in a hurry. Dusty Mangum on for the extra point. It's up, and it is good. So the Longhorns struggling. They had the turnover on offense, a couple of poor passes, but defensively, you got the Tigers backed up. Robinson with the pick and the touchdown. Texas on the board first. 7-0. The Longhorns lead the Tigers here in Austin. First quarter, and the pick and the touchdown after they had the Tigers backed up at the 3. Jamal?
Terry, you get a look right here. Brad Smith's eyes straight there, and this guy, Brian Robinson, is just waiting. As soon as Brad turns and throws the ball, he just jumps up and picks it out the air.
Robinson, former middle linebacker, former H-back, a versatile guy who's played a lot of different spots for the Longhorns, and putting the team up early on this one after they had struggled on offense.
Right, and that's Brad Smith's only it's only his 3rd interception of the football season, versus 10 touchdowns, so it's rare. It doesn't happen a lot.
Alex Woodley back 3 yards deep to a knee, and they'll bring it out to the 20 for Missouri. Little breather for Missouri in terms of starting field position. Yeah. You just talked about how they've been backed up almost every series.
I think that they need to get, everything is run through Brad Smith, the quarterback, throwing the ball, and they've had a lot of play actions and waggles. They need to get Damian Nash more involved. This is a guy who averages over 90 yards a game and has 7 touchdowns on the season. They got to find a way to get him involved in this offense and make Texas respect the ground attack.
So the numbers on Smith today. Got Damian Nash, the junior from St. Louis, in the backfield with him. Smith, the keeper, crossed the 30 up to the 34, and Missouri's been able to move the football.
No, they have been able to move the football, and again, you see a little play-action waggle there, and Brad Smith keeps the football. You get a look at him right here. This is a guy I just talked about. Damian Nash is going to come across right there, and Brad Smith keeps the ball, and he's got a great seam he cuts back into right there. And you watch at the end of that play, something that Derek Johnson talked about. Everybody on this Texas defense goes after the football, so that may become a factor. And the quarterbacks who don't usually carry the ball, although Brad Smith is not one of them, you just got to hold on to the football.
Needs 9 yards to move into second place on that career list. Trying to get it right here. Caught along the sideline near the 40-yard line at the 39. Good catch. Brad Ekweru, the sophomore from Arlington, Texas.
That's the thing, Terry. You give this team an opportunity to be, not one-sided. You got to be able to throw the ball. You got to be able to pass the football, too. Brad Smith's coming really close to closing out on another Missouri milestone.
Gain of 6, so he still needs 3 to get to that second spot. Here's Nash, hit hard by Johnson, but he gets across the 40 to the 41. That's redundant, saying you got to hit hard by Derek Johnson. Yeah,
we figured to call Derek Johnson's name today a lot. He's the guy who's going to be shadowing Brad Smith, and he makes a tremendous amount of plays. 64 tackles, or 65 now in the season, and 7 forced fumbles this year and an interception. He's all over the football field. And I think, in my personal opinion, probably the best middle linebacker in football.
Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, we sent out our best to him and his family. His mother passed away a few days ago, and must be tough for him to be on the sideline. There's a first down to move the chains, and we go to John Saunders. People liking Arizona State in that game after the Trojans were tested last week.
Yeah, they were, but anytime you got Reggie Bush on the football field, you get an opportunity to win games. He's like Michael Vick for college.
Smith throws it away, and Boga was out there, but he was just throwing that one to the second row. So the Trojans being tested last week, and Oklahoma tested on the road this week. Who would you vote for as #1 right now?
I just like Oklahoma. I think the Big 12 is really tough, although I think Cal is a tremendous football game. Had an opportunity to sit in there and watch that game last week with
That's right, you were at the game last
Right, I was. And Cal's a tremendous football team, but Oklahoma, to me, is just the team to beat.
2nd and 10. Here goes Nash. A couple of quick moves across midfield to the 49. Nash, in his first year as a starter, came in with just under 500 yards. A reminder, Monday night, got Al Michaels, John Madden in the booth, of course. They'll be in St. Louis. Another edition of Monday Night Football, the Bucks and the Rams at 9 Eastern on ABC Sports. Who do you like in that one?
I got to go with the Rams. I mean, how about the Rams last week against Seattle? Unbelievable football game. I thought it was over. I turned the game off, and all of a sudden they come back.
And numbers for Andre Bruce, over almost 11,000 yards. Quick swing out to Nash. Got a hold. Cross the 35, knocked out of bounds at the 34. A flag comes in late.
That would really be a tough penalty if it goes against Missouri, and it looks like it is. Damian Nash, the guy I just talked about a couple minutes ago, that they need to get more involved in this offense. Everything can't just go through Brad Smith.
Derek Pinkel in his 4th year, game over 500 at 21 and 20.
Offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty, and it remains 3rd down.
Randy Crystal and his Big 12 crew working the game here in Austin. Victor Cisse not at all happy about the fact that they call out the numbers now.
Yeah. Third and long. I think that we haven't heard or we haven't called Sean Coffey's name yet, and he's been the big target so far this year. Also, Martin Rucker in this situation has been key for Brad Smith.
Yeah, they go to their tight ends often. 3rd and 11. Out of the gun. Smith, plenty of time. Got Mboga at the 40. If he holds on, yeah, he did. They call it a catch. He's got a 1st down for the Tigers.
That's the thing about Missouri. They do have a lot of weapons. And they struggled last week, like you said, against Baylor. But they knew coming into this football game that this was the toughest test that they faced so far. And they're coming against a Texas team who's played, as we've said over and over, really, really well after the Oklahoma loss. And they're at home. So they know they got to continue to mix it up, keep Brad Smith on. And this is a guy that's going to be tough to stop.
So there's the career passing yards after that completion. Smith into 2nd place. And the amazing thing about Brad Smith, too, is before it's all said and done, he may be their all-time leader in terms of career rushing yards. On the roll, lofting it out. Incomplete. He had Ekwu as well as Coffey down near the 5. And a trio of Longhorn defensive backs there as well.
The thing that's really been interesting to me so far, as much as Brad Smith has been in the shotgun, we haven't seen, this is just the respect of his running ability. There hasn't been much pressure on him. He's had an opportunity to stand back there and look down his receivers and just pick his targets as at his will. They had 2 receivers in the same area and just barely dropped the pass there.
Philip Giger coming over to help break it up. 2nd and 10. Inside give. There goes Nash. Looks for a hole. Nothing there. At the 40, he's popped. Aaron Harris, the middle linebacker, who makes a heck of a combo when you put him alongside Derek Johnson. Harris, the junior, who is the 2nd leading tackler on this Longhorn defense.
Yeah, you read a lot of stuff about how there wasn't a great tradition of Texas linebackers. Now you have Aaron Harris and Derek Johnson and Eric Hall, guys that they feel really strongly about, particularly Derek Johnson.
3rd and 9.
So 3rd and 9. Big play here for the Tiger offense. Smith, the keeper, going nowhere. He's going to lose one. No chance from the get-go. Brian Robinson also, after that pick, doing a great job of keeping Smith behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you look at Brian Robinson right here, and Smith's going to fake it and try to run it again. And Brian Robinson's just been the guy that's been in his face all day long. He comes in from the left side of the field and makes a great tackle right there.
So Matt Haynes, the sophomore from Branson, Missouri, on the punt. Aaron Ross back deep. Only a 27-yarder from Haynes, who is the backup punter. Brock Harvey went down with a broken collarbone. And this time off the side of his foot. Let's see where they spot it. Up at the 21.
Yeah, Aaron Ross was trying to spot it for him.
Yeah, he gave him a lot of help, didn't he? So a punt of 21 yards after the opening punt only went 27 yards. So Haynes struggling in the early going. The Texas coaches, we talked to them yesterday, they talked about the fact that they thought they had the edge in the kicking game. It's played out so far. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri on the hit.
Terry, you can tell right now that Greg Robinson, offensive coordinator for Texas, is doing, I mean, the whole game plan right now is going through the quarterback, Vince Young. He's trying to get him off. You got the short passes. You have a lot of rollouts and waggles where he has options to run or pass. And it's just like, let's clear last week's game. Let's get you back on a roll. Let's get you going right now.
Vince Young, some would say, and a lot's been written this week, somewhat of a younger version of Brad Smith. There's the reverse, looking to throw. Got a man deep, underthrown, a flag. They completed it anyway. Inside the 20-yard line, Vince Young on the reception.
And everything you read about Vince Young, they always talk about his athleticism, how he can play so many so many positions, on the football field. And you get a look at Vince Young, the wide receiver right there.
Lamont Taylor, the freshman from Temple, Texas, the man who caught it on the reverse, he's going to throw it.
And then Vince is just running down the football field, and he turns around and makes a tremendous play with the DB all over him and catches the ball backing up and falling.
48 yards from Taylor to Young. So if you're struggling throwing the football a little bit,
mix it up.
Why not catch it?
Trick plays. And you know what? It's a dangerous trick play because Cedric Benson gets the hands off and then he pitches it out. And then you expect the wide receiver to make a judgment call and throw the football field down throw the ball down the football field to Vince Young.
So they spotted at the 18, 1st and 10, flag on the play. Benson breaks through inside the 5 down to the 2. And remember that flag. Will Allen with a good block to spring his tailback. Temperatures in the mid-80s today here in Austin. Certainly gets much warmer than this, but it is a little bit warm on the field.
It does not appear like the flag is going to go against Texas.
On the offense, it's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Had the running back, wide receiver, both moving.
So they were both moving at the same time in the backfield, and going to cost Texas not only 5 yards, but the big gain by Benson.
Yeah, definitely Cedric's best run so far of the day, and it would have been a huge boost for them.
So while we have a moment, a reminder, Wednesday.
We got a lot of good shows on ABC right now.
Desperate Housewives. Young didn't go down. Vince Young turns the corner. Inside the 10, inside the 5, leaps toward the end zone. But touchdown! He got there. What a run by Vince Young, who should have been down initially on the hit.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, it's a demoralizing play for a defensive end. When you have a clean shot on the quarterback and you take that shot at him, you get a look at Vince Young right here. He's just sitting back there. And Xavier Jackson, I believe, was going to come up and take a lick on him, but he didn't wrap up.
James Kinney on that hit.
James Kinney, the weak linebacker who's Mr. Everything for Missouri, gets a clean shot on him and doesn't wrap up, and Vince bounces out of it and runs up the sideline for a touchdown.
What a leap to stay in bounds. The official hesitated to check with the other official to see, did he step out, did he not? There's the extra point. Dusty Mangum again up and good, but Young doing it all by himself. The Longhorns roll it. 14-0, and an extraordinary run. Kinney had him, just didn't wrap him up.
Yeah, and that's why you hear defensive coordinators every week in these meetings. They go, we work on the fundamentals. We got to work on the fundamentals. We got to get guys not just to hit, but to tackle and wrap guys up. And you get a look at Kinney, who has, the guy 6'1", 240, has a clean shot on Vince Young, and he bounces off and breaks up the sideline for a touchdown.
Going to hate to watch that game tape this week. So it's 1st and 10 for Brad Smith and the Tigers. Looks for room, nothing doing. Aaron Harris with another stop behind the line of scrimmage. So if you're Missouri now, And you're Dave Christensen, the offense coordinator. What are you trying to get done? What can you do?
Well, I think the most important thing for this football team is to continue to move Brad Smith around the pocket, and you have to establish some type of running game. Because right now, Texas is up by 2 touchdowns, and they know that they can just pin their ears back and blitz and keep a guy in the middle like Derek Johnson, who's going to screen Brad Smith. Anytime he comes out the pocket, he'll be right there.
So that's it for the first quarter. Back with the second after this message and a word from our ABC stations here in Austin. 14-0 Texas over Missouri. Bevo doesn't look all that excited. Although it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Stay calm at this point. Don't forget, you can interact on Enhanced TV right now at ESPN.com. So the first quarter, all Longhorns. Tigers trying to change that. Damian Nash with a hole across the 25 out to about the 29-yard line. The junior from St. Louis has been slow to get things going today, as has Brad Smith. He really hasn't been able to do as much as he expected early against this Longhorn defense.
Yeah, and you know, Brad Smith has had time in the pocket. Obviously, the guys on Texas and Greg Robinson, they're worried about his capability of running the football. But like I said earlier, Missouri's got to continue to try to mix it up. You got to get Damian Nash a little bit more involved and keep Brad Smith in the shotgun.
After the gain of 10, it's 3rd and 1. Nash skips across and has the first down. So they'll move the chains. As we said, the temperature in the mid-80s today. For more on the heat and the conditions down on the field, check in with Mark Morgan.
Terry, as you mentioned, it is very warm down here on the field. The high is supposed to be at like 88 degrees, and obviously it's very humid. Twice this week, the Missouri team practiced in their indoor facility on Wednesday and Thursday. They cranked the heat up to try to mirror the conditions that the team expected to face here today. One Missouri official told me it was uncomfortable just standing in there, much less practicing. So we'll have to check and see if it takes its toll on the Tigers later on in the game.
All right, Mark, got a little breeze today, so it does help keep the temperature down. So long pass down to the 30, incomplete. Sean Coffey. You mentioned his name a little bit earlier, needing to get him involved, and Brad Smith almost had him.
Yeah, he's been the big play guy for this team all year long. 3 touchdowns, 18 receptions, 310 yards, and you get a look at Brad Smith. Again, he's got time. Derek Johnson's bearing down, though. And Michael Huff right there on his back, but
could have had
Coffey,
that. Yeah,
he could have definitely had that. You know, we playing for the Atlanta Falcons, we had a thing that said, if you touch the football, you should catch the football.
That's the old adage, right?
Yeah.
Michael Huff and Philip Giger on the coverage. Marcus Woods in for Nash up to the 38. Go back to John in New York toward that Heisman Trophy.
And it looked like a football team who've been listening to people say Oklahoma's #1 in the country.
Out of the gun is Smith. Somehow gets out, throws, and incomplete, but don't know how he got out of the pile.
Yeah, that's the thing. Brad Smith is just elusive guy, and you get a look at Derek Johnson right there. He's a guy who's told us yesterday, my job is to be shadowing Brad Smith everywhere he goes. If it looks like he's coming out of the pocket, I got to be there. You see Brad Smith step up here under the pressure and then roll out, and then Derek Johnson, the best linebacker in college football, let me just put that out there, is all over his back. And he said, I got to follow him. Wherever this guy goes, I'm going to be the one there on his back.
Scary good is Johnson. Mention those 7 forced fumbles already on the year. Punts of 27 and 21 yards from Haynes so far. Contact, no call. He booms this one. Goes into the end zone. So a punt of 61 yards. He'd like to have it back to about 59. It'll come out to the 20 for the Longhorns when we come back to Austin. Back in Austin, the Longhorns rolling so far. 14-0 over Missouri, and Vince Young having a terrific day. Not necessarily passing the football, but he had a 48-yard reception, and then the run to the end zone from 23 yards.
53 yards rushing, 12 yards passing, 48 yards receiving. You talk about getting a young quarterback off to a solid start. That's how you do it.
Penalty marker before the snap.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 51.
You know, Terry, when we were talking to Vince Young yesterday, he said how when he's home and he's by himself, especially after losses, particularly Oklahoma, that he may sulk and he may walk around and kind of feel sorry for himself. He said, but the minute he gets back around the team, he puts on a different face. He lets these guys know that he exudes strength and confidence, and that they should believe in him and that they're going to be fine.
Only a sophomore, but you're right. He knows the fact that as a quarterback, they take the direction from him. Here comes Benson. Big gain over the right side out to the 23. A good block from Casey Studdard. Take a look right now at our Pacific Life game summary, and the pick by Robinson from the 3-yard line, and then the long pass from Taylor. Ramonce Taylor, the freshman, 48 yards, 23-yard run from Young, and it was all Young on that drive, and that's where we are, 14-0. So the offense sputtered a bit to start the game, but the defense putting 7 on the board and got the offense going.
Cedric Benson right now is probably the happiest man on the field. They got a 14-point lead. They know it's like grind time.
Missouri showing blitz. There's the pitch out to Benson. Simpson read it perfectly. Jason Simpson, who had a big game last week, came up. You could see him anticipate before the snap.
Yeah, and you know, Greg Davis said yesterday, this is a guy, Jason Simpson, that they put him in a position to make football plays. You get to look at the Missouri defense here against Colorado. They swarm around, they create a lot of turnovers, they make a lot of plays. And Gary Pinkel said it best. This is finally our football team. After years of recruiting, we finally have our guys in. He said the first time he got here, they only had 1 scholarship cornerback on the whole football team. Yeah,
they've got their recruits in now, and many of them from the state of Texas. They have 23 players on this roster from Texas. Young on the roll, lofts it out to Jeffrey, but threw it out of bounds. No chance.
Now, so we can get a little bit more control in his rollout and his passes. He has all the ability, but you got a guy wide open down the football field. You just kind of lay it up there and let him run under that football.
Yeah, earlier in the first, he had Brian Carter wide open, but because he was rolling, sailed it. But you look at what Missouri has done from last year to this year, 64th to 8th in total defense, and they do lead the Big 12 in total defense.
But
Richmond McGee on.
The defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, said it best yesterday. This is the best team that we faced so far. Yeah. He said, without a doubt, he said, you know, we've had some challenges in certain situations. He said, but we haven't seen a football team like Texas. This is going to be a test.
Thompson Mboga going to get away from this one as it takes a Longhorn bounce. That thing landed at midfield, bounced all the way to the 33. So a punt of 45 yards for Richmond McGee. And time to ask you our Aflac trivia question. 5 players in NCAA Division I history. They have 4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Do you know who they are? We'll give you the answer a little bit later. Don't forget, you can interact on Enhanced TV now at ESPN.com. Cedric Benson with a chance to do that. In fact, he will do that unless, barring injury, could do it today.
Yeah, he has a what? He was 162 yards coming into this football game from crossing the 1,000-yard barrier.
He's got 48 today. So inching closer to that. Marcus Woods in at tailback. Smith's going to keep it though. Bounces outside. Looks for room to the near sideline and run out at the 37.
Smart move, Brad. No, don't take any unnecessary hits. You know, Dave Christensen, I'm sure, up in the booth is like, please get out of bounds when he sees eight or nine guys from Texas chasing after his quarterback.
You didn't have that luxury in your career.
Well, in fact, if I did, somebody would remind me on the sideline that I missed an opportunity to try to hit somebody
from your own team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
What are you running out of bounds for? So I definitely didn't have that luxury.
Gain of 3, so it's 2nd and 7. Plenty of time for Smith. Flips it out to Victor Cisse, one of his big tight ends, across the 40 to the 41 before he's wrapped up by Aaron Ross. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. 10:50 and counting until halftime. So Gary Pinkel's club with a 3rd and 3.
It's a great down and distance for them, especially since they've been doing a lot of the run-pass option. Give Brad Smith a chance to do whatever he wants.
Texas on the blitz, and Smith goes down.
Got a penalty.
And a marker as well. Eric Hall shot through there.
12 men.
Can't do that.
No.
Andy Crystal and his crew will discuss this.
Yeah, I heard of playing good defense, but you can't bring in extra guys.
No, they're going to catch you most of the time.
Too many players participating on defense. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty. The gain is sufficient for a first down.
So they'll move the chains, and Mack Brown and Greg Robinson on the sideline. Count them.
There you go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yep. No wonder they couldn't block the 12th guy.
Exactly. I mean, I know Brad Smith is dangerous, but nice try, Greg. Nice try.
In his first year and plenty of NFL experience for Greg Robinson. He was at NC State back when I was there, back in the early 80s. There goes Smith, breaks through. Still on his feet, finally brought down at the 17. Longhorn helmets flying as well.
And I could hear Greg Robinson in his headphones saying, you see why I put 12 people on the football field. Look at Brad Smith here again. The run pass option, you know, fake right there. He's got the big tight end leading for him. Martin Rucker makes a nice block.
Big block from Tony Klinker.
Smart, just stays behind his guy, stays in the seam, follows his blockers down the field, kind of got his hand on the back like, hey, big boy, you take me there.
Gain of 26, and there are the numbers on Smith. So 52 yards on the ground, 63 in the air. He did throw the one interception, and that, of course, was a touchdown for the Longhorns. Klinker shaken up after throwing the good block.
Yeah, Missouri has been able to move the football. They just haven't been able to close. They haven't been able to get points on the board. You know, Brad Smith has been in the shotgun, and he's done a lot of the waggle run pass options, and he's kept the ball, and obviously the statistics show it, but they just have not been able to close. They get in these situations, and Texas just buckles down and shuts them down.
They've actually moved it well on first and second down.
They really have.
Key third down situations they haven't been able to convert. Brad Smith has got it down to the 18 now. And heard from John about Matt Leinart in USC. And maybe he is the favorite for the Heisman at this point. Jason White, people are not really talking about him right now because he had 113 yards last week against Texas.
Right. A lot of people talking about Adrian Peterson. A lot of people talking about Kyle Horton out in Purdue. It's going to be a big game. See what he can do today.
Marcus Woods bringing it back, bounces off one inside the 15 to the 13. Woods, the redshirt freshman out of Farmington Hills, Michigan. He's splitting time with Damian Nash.
Get a good look at the block right here. You see Marcus following his guys around the horn. Again, Rucker makes a nice block right there. And he just, you know, when you got a guy that's 5'8", 185, a la Warrick Dunn, they kind of slide under tackles and get 3 or 4 extra yards where a bigger back wouldn't be able to do that.
Bring up the Heisman, though, in terms of Brad Smith. You think his name is no longer?
I think, I mean, you know, obviously this game's 14-0 right now, but if Brad Smith has a tremendous game and somehow this football team wins this game, he's definitely back in the Heisman contention. You have to throw him back in there.
Woods inside the 10, down to the 8, near first down. We'll see.
We'll definitely see that play again because after Brad Smith handed off, they didn't respect him, and he ran on the right side of the football field, and he was by himself.
Gain of 4. Missouri, by the way, 3 of 7 on third down. Tony Klinker is back in, the wide tackle, who was injured on that big gain by Brad Smith. So here comes the crowd.
I would definitely be aware of where the tight end Martin Rucker is because Brad Smith likes him in these situations.
Woods trying to bounce outside, struggles, and we'll see where they spot it. Where he ends up, he should have the first down, but we'll see.
Yeah, you see Derek Johnson makes a nice play right there, but like I said, little running back. I mean, Marcus Woods kind of squeaks through that, runs through the arm tackle, and just dives forward and appears to have gotten the first down.
First down. Don't forget, coming up on the Valvoline halftime show, you got John Craig and Aaron Taylor with highlights and analysis from today's big games. There are plenty of them around the country, including that Arizona State USC matchup out west. So the guys coming up in just a few moments. 8:33 and counting. Actually, a little more than a few moments. Woods bounces back inside, drilled at the 3-yard line.
That's where you can tell. That's where that 185 pounds it's detrimental to your health.
Larry Dibbles weighs about 285 going up against Woods, who's 185.
Yeah, you get a look at him. Brad Smith hands it off to Woods. Woods makes a nice cut right inside, but you got Dibble right there and just puts a nice smack on him. Shoulder pads turn. He's immediately going to the ground.
Gain of 5, however. 2nd and goal from the 3. Out of the gun. Smith lost one. Derek Johnson again made sure Smith couldn't go anywhere.
He's shadowing him, and he's going to be on him all day long. So anytime you get a look at it, and you see Derek Johnson right here, as soon as he sees Brad Smith keep the ball, he's going to pursue him and come right after him. How strong is he when he can get one arm out? And Brad Smith is a guy who's 210 pounds and slow him down and almost spins him around with just his arm.
Butkus semi-finalist, and he's got to be the favorite for that Butkus award at this point in the season.
No doubt about it.
3rd and goal, but now from the 4. Quick drop. Smith throws to the end zone. Touchdown. Sean Coffey, the junior from East Cleveland, Ohio, with the catch. So Coffey, the leading receiver on the year.
Well, you got to know in those situations, Brad Smith is looking at 2 guys. Sean Coffey is leading receiver, and he's going to look for Martin Rucker to tight end. And those 2 guys that Texas has to know in that situation, if they're going to throw the football, they got to keep an eye on.
Joe Tantarelli, the junior from Santa Rosa, California, on for the extra point. Brad Smith, your holder. Up and good. So the Tigers on the board. First catch of the day for Sean Coffey in the end zone. 14-7 minutes off the clock, and the Missouri Tigers right back in this. 14-7 Texas here in Austin. Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, and Mark Morgan with you.
Terry, I'm a little bit surprised that Cedric Benson only has 8 carries. I know Missouri comes into this football game with the top ranked, number 3 rushing defense in the conference, but Cedric Benson is the number 2 overall rusher in all of football.
Yep.
And just to have 8 carries right now, I know they had the fumble exchange. I'm just a little bit surprised.
Longhorns will bring it out to the 20. We gave you the Aflac trivia question a little while ago. 5 players in NCAA Division I history to have 4 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Ron Dayne, of course, for the Badgers. Tony Dorsett, or do you call him Dorsett?
Dorsett.
Part of his career, he was Dorsett. And you look at these names, another one could join them, including Amos Lawrence. That's what our statistician John Madry, a Carolina grad, wants to point out. You could have another one up there, and that would be Cedric Benson, who is very close to 1,000 yards for the year. Got the carry here, but not much going on across the 20 to the 21.
James Kinney on the tackle, and that time James Kinney wraps up.
So he needs 30.
That's progression. 1,053, 1,293, 1,360, now 870 already in this season. He only needs 30 yards for 1,000.
Now, 2 fumbles today, though. 1 a giveaway. He got 1 back, but second drive of the game, he coughed 1 up.
Yeah.
Quick throw and complete out to the tight end, David Thomas. Jamal?
You talked about the 2 fumbles, but you know, the first one, Brian Carter was trying to make a block, and Cedric Benson obviously not anticipating contact with his own teammate, and Brian gets a hit on his elbow, and it's tough. I mean, yeah, the fumble's going to get charged to Cedric Benson, but that's a tough play. And then the second one was on the exchange. I mean, this is a guy who really can ill afford to have these happen because of the 2 fumbles last week, and everybody talking about how he's fumbled so much lately. And that's our mistake. He needs 130 yards, not 30 yards for 1,000.
Math, not a strong suit.
We're giving Cedric Benson yards.
Young, quick out, and that one's picked off. Shadanye Mitchell with the interception. Just like that, Missouri with great field position.
You got to know, I mean, Shadanye is the guy who leads this team in interceptions. That's his 4th on the season. Vince Young sits back, and he's staring at him, and the receiver just stops in the middle of the route, and Shadanye Mitchell right there makes a great play. You look at Swede here, just kind of shuts it down on the slant, doesn't follow through. It must have been some miscommunication as to what he thought Cedric Benson was going to do and what Cedric Benson thought he was going to do.
Leads the Big 12 in picks. That's his 4th, as you said, on the year. Had one last week in the win over Baylor, and now this is huge.
I mean, Cedric Benson was throwing, Vince Young was throwing a slant, and Lyman Sweed was running a curl.
Under center now, Brad Smith. Mboga in motion. Damian Nash cuts back on a big hole to the outside. He is gone. Goodbye. Nash to the end zone, 33 yards.
I'm not one to pat myself on the back, but I said you have to get Damian Nash involved. I thought for Purdue to have success, yeah, Brad Smith is the guy, but you have got to be able to mix it up. You have to make Texas respect the run, and you get a look right there. This is a guy who's averaging 10.5 points a game. He's number 2 in the Big 12 in scoring, and he scored another touchdown there.
But all off the pick by Mitchell. And this is a defense that lives on creating turnovers. Tenarelli on for the extra point. Up, good, new ball game. 14 all. 11 turnovers created by Missouri in the last 3 games. Nash takes it to the house. We're on top. Tiger cheerleaders with something to cheer about right now. It was 14-0 just a few moments ago, but in the span of a minute 30, 2 touchdowns on the board for the Tigers.
This is a beautiful thing right here. You watch the block right here, the wall by Scott Prefaf right there, and then you watch Martin Rucker wall this guy out, and this is going to give him a big lane. You see the cutback right here, and then watch, coming in the end of the screen, you're going to see Sean Coffey wall off right there.
And Jamal, you talked earlier in the game about the quickness of the Texas defense and trying to take advantage of that overrunning plays at times.
Definitely, and that's one thing Derek Johnson said. The biggest thing Greg Robinson did for him is help him slow the game down, but he's focusing so much on Brad Smith, and in some situations you get caught up. And really, Missouri has not run the ball effectively all day with the exception of what Brad Smith has done.
Little extracurriculars at the end of this play, the end of the kick, which went on the end zone, and the flag out near the 15. They can go either way with this because both teams were jawing back and forth and plenty of pushing. Robert Killebrew is involved from Texas, picked out his number. We'll see.
Dead ball, personal foul on both teams. Number 19, Missouri. Number 40, Texas. The penalty's canceled by rule. 1st and 10.
So Brandon Massey and Robert Killebrew, and they did go to both sides for that. Yeah, the headbutt. And there it is at the end. So 1st and 10, after it's all said and done, 1st and 10 at the 20.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad block by Robert Massey. He's supposed to drive him into the ground. He got a little bit upset that he got drove into the ground.
Wouldn't we all? 5:27 until halftime. Young giving it off. Down to one knee at the 22 goes Benson. Shadanier Mitchell, the big interception a moment ago. More on him right now. We go to Mark.
Mitchell is out of here. He will be flown to Missouri ASAP to witness his child's birth.
Can't wear a pager or carry a cell phone on the field, so somebody on the sideline is going to have to be doing that. Look at Jason Simpson covering very quickly out near the 24-yard line.
Yeah, Will Matthews makes a catch in the flat. You know, they're just trying to get Vince Young in any type of rhythm, and Jason Simpson is right there to make the tackle.
Simpson's had a couple of big plays already in this game.
Yeah.
And last week against Baylor. Watch the pick he had. Taking it almost all the way back.
Yeah, well, you know, Missouri at this point in the game, they weren't really doing anything offensively, and that kind of sparked them. It was a really, really close game at that point, and Simpson ran it all the way back and didn't score, but it helped Missouri in the next play. They scored.
Big 3rd down for Vince Young and the Longhorns. This one's picked off again. Reno Williams going to bring it back inside the 35. Lost the football. They're going to whistle him down. So it was dead. Vince Young is still down, and he got popped after he released it, and probably shouldn't have released it.
I tell you what, it almost looked like a punt. You get a look at Vince Young right here. He drops back, and it seems like he has time, and the pocket collapses, and he stands in there, and that was a late hit.
Should have been flagged?
Definitely. I mean, the ball is clearly gone. Ball's gone.
Oh, you're right.
The guy takes 2 steps into him. Gosh, he shouldn't have thrown that football. That was, you know, I don't understand why he throws that ball, and he throws that ball into the middle of the football field.
Nino Williams brought it back 23 yards. So even though it was 3rd down, and you say, yeah, at times you throw it downfield, it's like a punt. Not in that situation.
Right.
You didn't throw it far enough.
Well, I mean, if you're going to throw that football, you got to throw it to the right, the outside of your receiver's shoulder, especially when you have a safety, a deep safety in the middle.
Chance Mock, the senior from the Woodlands, Texas, warming up. Yeah, the hit was late.
Yeah, that was, you know, the ball is gone, and he takes 3 steps, and David Richard takes 2 or 3 steps into him after the ball is gone and cleans his clock.
All 3 Texas turnovers coming on 3rd down. It's got interceptions and a fumble. So Missouri again taking over in a similar spot than they did just a moment ago. Creating turnovers, that's the way they've won games. Brad Smith hit hard. Derek Johnson just crushed it.
Hey, you know, we've said it a couple times, Terry, but anytime he comes out of the pocket, I expect to see number 11 on him. Get a look at Derek Johnson right here. As soon as he sees Brad Smith commit to the run, he's not looking at anybody or anything but Brad Smith and stopping him.
Maybe not a full spy on Smith, but close to it today is Johnson.
Yeah.
Play action. Smith bounces out. Off balance, just threw it away. Almost went down well behind the line of scrimmage. And again, Johnson was all over.
Right. Athleticism and talent, though. Brad Smith, how you get out of that. I mean, any other quarterback in the nation, particularly drop back passers, they're going to be sacked right there. You see him fake the handoff and step up and then kind of step out of that. And again, you know, they got pressure on Brad Smith, and Brian Robinson, the guy who picked up the pass earlier, made the sack, and Brad Smith is on him again.
Roderick Wright also part of that pressure. Derek Johnson already with 5 tackles and a number of pressures. Swing pass out. There goes Nash trying to bounce outside. They wrap him up at the 27. Aaron Ross, the cornerback from Tyler, Texas, and a sophomore on the initial hit.
This is going to be an interesting call because the kicker, the field goal kicker, early in the season was great, and then he went to a streak where he missed like 3 or 4 in a row, and then he was 3 or 4 last week. But in a 4th and 4 with a little over 2 minutes to go in the second half, Missouri's going to go for it.
4th and 5, we're going to call it. To get to the 23, just inside of it. Smith out of the gun. Plenty of time initially, and that one's picked off. The Longhorns bringing it back. Aaron Ross got a chance. To the 12.
Wow, Ross just steps in front of it again. Brad Smith is kind of just staring to that side of the football field, and everybody defensively for Texas, without him looking receivers off, which he hasn't done much of today, gets an opportunity to get a jump on the ball. He's just staring on the right side the whole time, and Aaron Ross just jumps in front of the pass.
Didn't look like Smith ever saw Ross. It was right in back of Thompson Mboga, the intended.
2 receivers in the same area, just a little bit too close. Even if he would have completed the pass, I don't know if they would have got the first down.
Ross brought it back 64 yards, and eventually Mboga made the hit. So now Chance Mock on for the injured Vince Young. Longhorns operating out of the eye. Benson hit behind the line of scrimmage. Atia Ellison, the senior, on the stop. So 2:07 and counting before halftime. Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, Mark Morgan here in Austin, Texas, Royal Memorial Stadium on a gorgeous day. And it was 14-0 Longhorns before the defense started to take over for Missouri.
Yeah, and in that last play, Atia, who they affectionately call Atia the Hun, Ellison, makes a great stop. They've been getting a lot of penetration on the inside, and it's been shutting Cedric Benson down before he can get rolling.
There goes Benson to the end zone. Can't shut him down forever.
No, that's the thing. I don't understand. Even he's had some success running the football, but he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities to run. I know you respect what Missouri can do defensively, and they come in the third in the Big 12, holding opponents under 100 yards rushing, but you have the second best rusher statistically in college football, arguably the best. You have got to give him an opportunity to make plays.
Benson with 63 yards in the game on 12 carries, and now the touchdown. Dusty Mangamon for the extra point. Perfect again. So you bring in Chance Mock, more of a thrower than Vince Young, and you keep it on the ground to Benson. 21-14. Minute 36 left until halftime. Texas with the strike from Cedric Benson. The 13-yard run. 21-14 the score right now. And just a moment ago, Vince Young left the field heading to the locker room. He was injured on that last interception that he threw the last series. Mark Morgan, do you have more?
Yeah, Terry, he walked by me a minute ago. I watched Vince ever since he came out of the game. He was grimacing on the sidelines. There were 3 or 4 trainers who were analyzing his midsection, having him take some deep breaths, and the official word is that he will be reevaluated. As we all saw, took that vicious hit to the midsection. He'll be reevaluated at halftime. His status as we speak is unknown for the second half.
Yeah, it looked like he got the wind knocked out of him initially, but he spent some time on the ground.
Yeah, you never want to see a guy go out of the game because of an injury, but obviously the reaction from this crowd when Chance Mock came in, and Chance Mock being the guy who has more experience throwing the football.
Alex Woodley bringing it out across the 20, but there is a flag on the play. And we'll sort that out. There you go. Backing up the Tigers. As a 2-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, Patriots' Richard Seymour is an expert in the art of the quarterback sack, of course, but find out how little he knows about the receiving end when Troy Brown turns the tables on this week's edition of Monday Night Football's You've Been Sacked. You like that?
I do. I do.
Pretty good.
They have a lot of fun, which is cool because people get an opportunity to see guys off the field and see their personalities, because that's what everybody talks about. You guys always have on helmets, and we, so I think it's a lot of fun.
Tough to get to know players in football because of that, but you're right.
Again, Missouri starting off with terrible field position, 8-yard line, minute 32 left in the half.
Marcus Woods in the backfield, keeps the legs moving across the 10 to the 11-yard line. So Woods and Nash both splitting time, and actually Woods got the start today.
Yeah, he did, and he's obviously he's come in the game and done some things, but Damian Nash has been the big guy. He's been the main runner for this football team. I'm a little bit surprised. I know Brad Smith has all the athleticism and he's rushed for 2,800 yards, but how he's been staring down receivers in this football game. I mean, both of those turnovers as a result of he just looks one direction and doesn't take his eyes off that target, and Texas guys are just jumping it.
Longhorns call timeout. They want it back before the break. First down. He'd love to get it back and keep Missouri, first of all, backed up in their own territory. Brad Smith, the numbers, 73 yards in the air, 50 on the ground.
Yeah, but indicator of that first play, Missouri comes out running the ball. They seem to be content to kind of just run out the clock and regroup and go in and try to do something in the second half.
See if they can. A minute 19. Hand it off to Woods. Wrapped up at the 12. Will they burn another timeout? You would expect them to, and they do. So the Longhorns call another one. Norman Satchel on the hit, the junior from Denver. Don't forget the Valvoline halftime show coming up from New York. Scores and highlights from all the action around the country.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be careful here, because obviously Mack Brown is intent on trying to get the football back and get some points on the board. Doing really, really well. But I don't know about my wife and her friends watching it.
It's great because, the fact that we work for ABC, I've actually had a few people ask me, can you get me on the set of Desperate Housewives? As if I, had that pull, and as if I wouldn't be there if I had that pull.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's fine. And I like I said, I got dragged into watching it last week, and I was like, okay, it's pretty interesting as long as they don't try, as long as reality does not imitate art, As long
on your block,
yeah, exactly.
Minute 11 until halftime as Brad Smith brings the offensive unit on the field, and Derek Johnson, who has been all over Smith through much of this first half, brings the defense out. 3rd and 6 for the Tigers. Longhorns would love to get another shot before the break.
Yeah, Missouri has to get the first down on this play because Texas is intent on trying to get the ball back and kick a field goal and score points.
Bo Veman on the walking on. They fake it to him. Smith wrapped up at the 15. They're going to get it back.
Yeah, they definitely are going to get it back, and they're going to get it back with maybe 55 or more seconds.
Longhorns burn their last time out. And so they're going to get it back one way or another. Larry Dibble's in on the hit, and we'll be back to Austin. So you set up the return here if you're Mack Brown, or you go after Matt Haynes, the punter?
Well, I think you go after the punter, but even if you don't get it, you're going to have an excellent opportunity for a return because of where he's standing on the football field. Even if he fair catches the ball, they're going to get the ball in great field position.
And they blow the whistle. Missouri wants to talk it over on their sideline. So Gary Pinkel maybe saw something in that lineman. Back 64 yards to set up that last touchdown by Cedric Benson.
Yeah, these two guys, Vince Young and Brad Smith, were roommates this summer at Steve McNair's camp, and I don't think this summer they had any conversations about let's both throw 2 interceptions when we face each other in Austin.
Oh, you think? Yeah, they talk actually on a weekly basis. And Smith, obviously the veteran, he's a junior and has offered plenty of advice to Young. But the two are very good friends.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, it's unfortunate to see Vince Young go out of this football game. But I tell you right now, everybody in this stadium is going to be anxious to see what Mack Brown does and what Chance Mock can do with this time before the half.
So Haynes back on. Trying to go after him. Didn't get there. Aaron Ross back at his own 41. Going to reverse field. May have been a mistake, and he's all the way back to the 37. That's not what you want to do.
No. 13 seconds he took off the clock running around the football field. He should have just ran out of bounds right there.
Justin Scott on the hit. So it's 1st and 10, Longhorns at the 39. With 52 seconds left until half. But Haynes was in trouble. Watch the bobble.
Yeah, really, if Texas was coming after him, that would have been the key right there. If they really had a all blitz going, they would have blocked that punt.
So Chance Mock going to get a chance to show what he can do here with the last 53 seconds. Out of the gun, Mock steps up. Hit. That's a fumble. Recovered by the Longhorns.
That's definitely not what everybody in this stadium wanted to see Chance Mock do.
No, Jonathan Scott got it back, but Brian Smith on the hit to cause the fumble.
Yeah, you see Brian Smith coming around there and Chance trying to reset, and Brian Smith sacks him.
Smith had 3 sacks in the game last week against Baylor. So Mock trying to communicate with his receivers now.
Yeah, Brian Smith, a guy who had 35 sacks his senior year in high school. So that's all he does is go after the quarterback.
It's not a misprint.
No. Matt Eberflus told us yesterday that in 3rd and long or 1st and long or any long down situations, they were going to come after him and bring Brian Smith out.
A few boos you hear in the stadium because Mack Brown's going to let the time run off the clock. Mock's not going to get another chance. They don't want a mistake to bring it back for Missouri before the half. So Mack's going to talk to his quarterback, and they have yet to leave the field. The official's still out there, and the ball is still down at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, I think that was a smart move. You know, obviously Mack Brown intended to try to come out and do something offensively.
3 seconds left in the half. We have a dead ball, delay, offense.
So everyone left prematurely. Still got 3 seconds on the clock. And obviously they're just going to run that out.
Right. I mean, like I said, Mack Brown, obviously they were going to come out and try to do something, but then when you get a sack and a guy fumbling the ball on the first play, you just kind of cut your losses. You go in the game at halftime with a 7-point lead.
And Mack saying, Chance, just take a knee. I would believe. Mock, who split time with Young last year. And they hand it off. Not sure why you do that, but
I would have probably pitched it.
take a shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, pitch it outside to Cedric Benson. You give him an opportunity to run down the sideline or run out of
off
bounds.
Smith. The story coming in, we talked about them being roommates at Steve McNair's summer camp this past summer. Take a look at what's happened with them today.
Yeah, you see Vince Young. They've done a lot of moving him around the pocket, running the ball. You saw the trick play there, and then the great athletic play of scoring a touchdown. And then when he got popped, he was going off the football field. And you get a look at Brad Smith, who's also made some football plays, first play of the game, moving the ball around. Running in the pocket, throwing in the pocket, but he's had the 2 turnovers as well.
But it's Chance Mock who starts under center, and Longhorns operate out of the I to open up the second half. Cedric Benson bounces past one and fights his way up to the 38-yard line. Marcus Bacon, the outside linebacker from Houston, on the hit. Mock, the senior from the Woodlands, Texas, and certainly more experience, especially throwing the football, than Vince Young.
Yeah, he is, and that's what all the talk in the paper was about, the ineffectiveness of Vince Young last week and then throughout the season, how he hasn't been able to throw the ball consistently, and that they might need to get Chance Mock in more. And Coach Brown has been hesitant to do that. He believes in the young quarterback, and unfortunately today he's out of the game, so Chance gets his opportunity.
Mack Brown also did not want to ruin the confidence of Vince Young after a tough performance last week against Oklahoma, but he's injured. There goes Benson. He could go. Cedric Benson going to bring it all the way to the house. There is a flag on the play. Penalty marker back at the 40-yard line. Holding, going to bring this back.
There is nothing worse on a long touchdown, but just not a holding.
Number 72, offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
So as a former Pro Bowler, what do you say to your right tackle, Will Allen, after that?
I mean, what can you say? Will he's trying to make a great block. You see him right there. Clearly has his arm on the jersey, tackling the guy.
Yep.
Gives Cedric Benson an opportunity to get out. And the thing is, Cedric is so quick and so explosive, he probably would have got away from that anyway.
There's Allen, the junior from Houston. And Benson.
Well, now everybody in the stadium knows who Will Allen is.
Not like in the past.
Yeah.
But Benson would have gone, I believe, with that run. 61 yards. And coming into the game, a chance to go over 1,000 yards. He came in with 838 yards and trying to go 4 straight years, as we told you, with over 1,000 yards rushing. Only 5 other men have done that. Division 1A. Mock, quick throw, throws it right by Limas Swede. Not a good one for Chance Mock to open up the second half. Our Pacific Life Games of moving the football, though Missouri did a better job of it with 212 total yards. But again, the turnovers, 3 for Texas and 2 for Missouri. They were keys.
Right, they were definitely keys. And like we said, we knew coming into this football game that Missouri is a defense that creates turnovers and they capitalize on them. But I really wasn't expecting Brad Smith to turn over the ball twice.
Mock on 3rd down. Quick throw. Swede overthrows the intended receiver. The coverage out there by David Overstreet. So it's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, you had to know when we got Gary Pinkel. You look at the Missouri defense. You know, 1st in the conference overall today. They only given up 176 yards. Scoring defense are number 1. 3 touchdowns, 21 points already today. And then the passing defense and rushing defense are right on key. Now, the tough thing is going to be this stat right here. How are they going to be able to contain Cedric Benson for the rest of the game?
And the defense really hasn't given up 21 points.
No.
The 2 picks
right
that Brad Smith has thrown. Thompson from Boga back deep and his own 30.
Well, you knew when we got Gary Pinkel coming in at halftime how he talked about, well, we'll see if we're going to go after Chance Mock. Well, absolutely. They've gone right after Chance Mock 2 times that he's dropped back to pass. And the second time he had a guy blitzing right in his face.
42-yard punt by Richmond McGee. No return. McGee did a great job last week keeping Antonio Perkins under control. So Missouri takes over in a sense. Especially the crowd a little restless right now. Almost 80,000 on hand. That Missouri has done a better job controlling this football game to this point. So his numbers right now in the game, Damian Nash straight ahead. Strong running up to the 37.
Yeah, you want to talk about a key. I think every time today Brad Smith has been under center, they have run the football. I think that would be an indication if I was a Texas defender. As soon as you see him walk under the center, hey, this is a running play.
Can hurt you a number of ways, but this year Brad Smith doing less running than he's done throwing. Been great in the third quarter throughout the year, 35-3.
But they haven't faced an opponent like the Texas Longhorns.
Larry Dibbles, defensive tackle from Lancaster, Texas, down, shaken up on the play.
They got to hope that Larry Dibbles only going to be out for a couple plays because he's been all over the football field today.
Well, Missouri coming into the game 4-1 overall, but 2-0 in the Big 12. Only the second time that's happened since '96 when the Big 12 was formed, and they are on top of the standings in the North as Dibble walks off. Good sign for the Longhorns. And Texas, of course, even up at 1-1 in the Big 12 after last week's loss to Oklahoma. Opening moments of the second half here in Austin, Texas. Like to welcome those of you that have been watching Arizona State and USC. Terry Gannon along with Jamal Anderson and Mark Morgan, and the defense has told the story so far in this one. 3 turnovers for Texas, 2 turnovers for Missouri, and Brad Smith, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio, has been able to move the football today but not really come up with a big play. 3rd and 1 coming up as you look at all the points off of turnovers. Smith keeps it, fights his way, should have a first down as he crosses the 40.
Terry, when you started that, you should have said you should have welcomed all the people who were watching USC, because it looked like it was a one-way game out there.
No Arizona State fans watching, even though
I'm just saying USC is just God. So throws 2 interceptions.
Here comes Smith, looks for room, dances around across the 45 to the 46 before Aaron Harris wrapped him up, a gain of 5. And Brian Robinson, the sophomore defensive end for Texas, with a big interception right down near the goal line. He just waltzed in for a touchdown, and that was the big play for Texas, turning things around early. They led 14-0, but back came Mizzou.
Yeah, and this is a great situation right here for Missouri. Brad Smith, you give him a lot of options. Again, he's walking under center, and they got 3 wide receivers flanked out.
First time they've passed out of that alignment. 2nd and 5. A lot of time on the rollout for Smith. Closes quickly, though, down near the original line of scrimmage.
Throw the ball away. I don't understand that. Why even get close to? I mean, if you can get back to the line of scrimmage, fine, but you got 3 defenders coming after you. Just continue to roll out. Don't take the hit, Brad Smith, because they need you not just in this game, but for the rest of the season. And throw the ball out of bounds.
Smith a little shaken up on the play. Over 1,000 yards in the air coming into this game, and 300 yards on the ground for Smith, who could be the all-time leading rusher when it's all said and done. And there's Vince Young, who was knocked out of the game in the first half and is warming up on the sideline very quickly. Let's go to John Saunders, and they fall to 3-3.
Oof. I mean, who would have thought? You get a look right here. Vince Young going to try to dive back to the line of scrimmage, and it's, wow, painful. It looked like his neck got popped forward. His helmet and neck snapped forward a little bit.
So it's Brandon Coleman, a sophomore from Miami. Played in 3 games. Actually threw a pass last week against Baylor, playing in that win. Damian Nash dropped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he's only thrown 6 passes all season long, so you know coming in maybe for a play or for a short period of time it's not the first instinct that they're going to drop back and give him an opportunity to throw the ball.
Well, Matt Haynes will come on to punt. Aaron Ross back at his own 15-yard line, awaiting for the Longhorns. Haynes, who struggled early in the game, had punts of 27 and 21 yards, then boomed a 61-yarder. This is a good one. Ross lets it go, a chance to down it at the 2. That went into the end zone, and they do finally.
Right. It straddled the goal line. It was obviously
it was apparent it went in, but the delayed reaction from the official. So they'll bring it out to the 20 at the punt of 54 yards. Talk about the big plays that are made all the time. Here's one that wasn't by Marcus King on the punt.
Yeah, Marcus King is a good cornerback, but he's got to be a great wingman. In this situation, when you got a tight game, 21-14, field position is critical. And if he gets in front of that ball, Texas has the ball on the 1-yard line instead of the 20.
But Chance Mock comes out under center. Cedric Benson, the lone setback on 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Longhorns, leading by 7. Flags everywhere. If you're an official and you have a flag in your pocket, you're going to throw it on that play.
My buddy Bo was a little bit anxious on that play.
Bo Scaife.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 80. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, remain first down.
You see Bo Scaife right here, just jump off the sides. Yeah, he had good intentions. He's trying to block somebody, but just a little bit ahead of a count.
Scaife, one of the 2 solid tight ends for the Longhorns. Scaife, a 6th-year senior out of Denver, was out a couple of years with a knee injury. And he and David Toms, quite a pair of bookends for the Longhorns. Mock to throw again, overthrows the intended receiver, and that is Scaife.
I'll say that this probably plays into Vince Young's hands right here, because everybody was talking about seeing Chance Mock come in and throw the ball, and he really has not been on right now. He's 0 for 3 right now, and he's really has some bad miscompletes.
Came in when Young was injured on an interception that he threw, and the Longhorn defense picked it off and went 64 yards. Aaron Ross did, and it set up a touchdown. Mock came in on that drive, but just handed it to Benson twice.
Absolutely.
0 for 3 since that time. On the roll, and this time he has Will Matthews out of the backfield and can't get it to him.
Yeah, Xavier Jackson right in his face. You get a look right here. Vince clearly hit after the play, after he released the ball. He did throw the interception, but he paid for it as well.
That was in the first half. Vince Young, and that's the play on which he was injured. But he's throwing the football, warming up on the sideline, though. And only 3 of 11 today. And he was 8 for 23 last week.
Right. I mean, he's done so many other things. I mean, he's run the ball well. You watch him. Look at him, 5 for 53 on the ground. Then he had the 48-yard completion. So he's done other things. He had the tremendous touchdown down the sideline. So he's done things to help Texas move the football.
3rd and 15. Remember, turnovers have been a key. Mock under pressure, gets it off to Benson, got room. Bounces outside across the 30. He's got a Longhorn first down. What a big play for Texas.
I know Matt Eberflus is going to be flustered, because anytime you're in a 3rd and long situation, the first thing you're thinking about defensively is a screen. You look at Chance Mock right here, fakes it to the left, he's under pressure, and he just drops it into Cedric Benson. You got a couple blockers in front of him in the sideline, just nobody on the sideline.
But Brian Smith, the defensive end, was close to getting to that football, too.
Yeah, luckily for Marcus King, he was able to hit him at the end of that play and knock him out of bounds.
20-yard gain. See what Benson's done on the ground, 71 yards. First catch of the afternoon just a moment ago. Straight ahead goes the senior from Midland, Texas, right into C.J. Mosley, the defensive tackle.
A little more patient. He needs to be just a little bit more patient. I could tell as soon as Cedric got the ball that he was already looking on the backside line of scrimmage. Maybe he should have just carried it out a little bit more to the front side and would have opened up for him back there.
You got a chance to spend some time with him yesterday.
I did, yeah.
Get to know him a little bit.
Yeah, he's a tremendous guy. Like you said, he's got an opportunity to be the 6th player in NCAA history to have 4 straight 1,000-yard years.
2nd and 5. Matthews and Benson out of the yard. Mock gives it to Benson, skips 1 to the 40. Going to be well short. Got to get it up to the 45. So,
yeah, it's interesting with Benson. He looks up to Ricky Williams, a guy who's definitely misunderstood by a lot of people.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, but I mean, he said the same thing. He said, you know, just because I'm a quiet guy and I don't like to talk a lot, or sometimes I just say exactly what I feel, people think I'm aloof, or people think I'm stuck up, or I'm arrogant, and I'm none of those things. He said, I just don't have much to say in certain situations, and then when I do, I just choose to say honestly what comes to mind.
2nd leading rusher in the country, 77 yards on the afternoon. Mock out of the gun, throws it up top. Not even close this time. Good coverage on the far sideline. Limas Swede, but A.J. Kincaid step for step.
Yeah, you see Chance, man, just continue to be frustrated after each pass. He's trying to get one off. You can tell he's trying to get into any type of rhythm, but every pass he's thrown is just falling to the ground.
Quarterback receiver talking about things as they go to the sidelines. Thompson Mboga back at his own 19. Richmond McGee, the junior from Garland, Texas, set to punt. It has gotten awfully quiet at Royal Memorial Stadium. Mboga wants everyone to get away, and that's what they do. So it's down near the 24. Took a Missouri bounce. Punt of 35 yards from McGee. The Tigers with a chance. Brad Smith will lead them on Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium here in Austin. They had the 1969 team on the field, honoring them before the game today. They won the national championship. A win over Notre Dame that year. Brad Smith back on after the injury. On the roll, throws out, complete, looking right into the sun was Brad Ekwu, the sophomore out of Arlington, Texas. Big day in Lincoln. More on that. We check in with different than last week for Nebraska. 70-10.
I mean, come on, Nebraska 70-10 to Texas Tech.
To the 36 goes Marcus Woods, the redshirt freshman. Well, you think about that Big 12 North division, as we said, Missouri had 2-0 on top, but Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas State playing so well today, but then
and then, which is, I think it's interesting because Oklahoma had the huge game here against Texas, in Dallas against Texas last week, and then they go into Kansas State, and they didn't really look good for the first 3 quarters of that football game.
Missouri with one more game against the South and then the rest against the North. Plenty of time on the rollout, and there is Coffee high into the air with the catch at the 42.
So dangerous, Brad Smith. You saw Aaron Harris come in on the delayed blitz, had a shot at him, and he just missed him. Brad Smith just makes him miss, kind of sticks him out and jukes him a little bit. You see Aaron Harris coming in on the delayed blitz right there, and he has a clean shot at him, and then Brad Smith just kind of wipes him off.
Coffee, his first catch of the afternoon was a touchdown catch. That's his second. And it's 1st and 10, Mizzou. Trying to run this way. Marcus Woods, nowhere to go. Guess who? Derek Johnson was in there first. Eric Hall into help. So 6:43 and counting in the third here in Austin, Texas. The Longhorns with the lead as number 24 takes on number 11, Terry Gannon, Jamal Anderson, Mark Morgan down on the field. And it's been a game in which the defenses have really dominated. Not so much in stopping the offenses, but at key moments coming up with turnovers.
The turnovers have been a huge factor. You get a sense that the way this game is going, whoever gets the most turnovers have a great opportunity to win this football game.
Second down here. Smith going to keep it. Got a big hole. Sliding into the 32. Just shy of a first down.
If you notice a little bit of weakness in that hole a couple series ago, Texas standout defensive tackle Larry Dibbles went to the locker room, so they got the backups in there right now. Frank Oakham, 65, in there on that play, but there's a void in there right now because he was all over the football field making plays left and right for them, and he's in the locker room right now.
Some heavy breathing going on with that defensive front as well. Frank Oakham in there right now. 3rd and 2. Big third down for Smith. Woods flag on the play as he fights probably for a first down, but let's sort out the flag. Randy Crystal and the Big 12 crew here.
Holding. Offense number 77. Be a 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
So it backs up Missouri, and that's a key penalty. Don't forget, next Saturday, more of ABC's college football coming your way. Oklahoma State taking on Texas A&M tonight and taking on these Missouri Tigers next week. Another battle of top 25 teams. 2:30 Central. That comes your way right here on ABC Sports. Oklahoma State 2-0 in conference play going into today's action.
Oklahoma State got a big game tonight against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens in that game.
A&M also unbeaten in Big 12 play.
Except they were beaten by the Utes.
Had to bring that up, didn't you? Make sure you point that one out. Your former Ute.
Big
Third and 10.
See Brad Smith checking off, letting the guys know that there might be a blitz coming.
Throws it out right at the 38. Just swarmed under is Martin Rucker, the tight end. And Texas with the stop on 3rd down.
I know Martin Rucker is a fantastic talent. His brother, the great defensive end for Carolina Panthers, Mike Rucker.
Right.
But 3rd and 10, you cannot throw a 5-yard out. I don't understand that play.
Especially with a tight end. You get it to a back.
Yeah, I mean,
half,
you know,
with a
they
chance
say
to
he
break a
runs a
tackle.
sub 4.5 or sub 4.6. Excuse me, and he's got a lot of talent. I know you have to hit for with the open man, but you run a play, give him a chance to roll out and run guys 10 and 12 yards down the football field.
Snap a little bit wide. Haynes trying to pin them in, and this one's going to hit at the 3 and go into the end zone. 37-yard punt, but they'll bring it back out to the 20 for, we'll see, Chance Mock, Vince Young, don't know. Vince Young looks like he's ready. 21-14, Texas with the lead at home here in the 3rd. On an absolutely gorgeous day in Austin, Texas. Temperatures maybe in the mid-80s, but a little breeze, which makes it, you know, maybe not comfortable, but certainly bearable down on the field. It is Chance Mock who is back in now in the shotgun for Texas as they take over 1st and 10 at the 20. Only 32 total yards for the Longhorns in the 2nd half. Trying to change that here. Tony Jeffrey, gain of maybe 3. That's his first catch. Down to Mark Morgan.
Them again, it's a split allegiance thing, so some fans will be both happy and sad at the end of this game.
Yeah, 2 stepbrothers who played, as I said, together at Nimitz High School, and guys who are very close, but no real, I won't say friction, but I mean, they talked about there not being a rivalry whatsoever coming into this game. But there are the numbers on the 2.
Hey, you'd love to be on the phone with those guys the night before this football game.
Yeah, right. Huh?
Or the weeks leading up to this game.
Saw King almost stop a ball from going into the end zone on that punt, but he could have made a play on it actually just a few moments ago. 3rd and 5. Mock on the roll. Jeffries, nope. And Mock has not been on target.
No, it was a little bit too strong. And you know, the play before that might have been a broken play. It looked like Mock was trying to get it to Cedric Benson. And then, you know, Chance Mock is not the guy that you want running the football, particularly in the middle of the defensive line.
2 for 8. And we'll see the next series, next time Mack Brown's club gets the ball, whether we see Chance Mock or Vince Young.
Well, you know, you always want your teammates to have success, particularly when a guy goes out like Vince Young. But, you know, everybody was talking about, well, maybe we should bring Chance Mock and maybe we'll have a better chance of throwing the football. Well, Chance Mock is 2 of 8 so far.
Yeah. McGee under pressure. That one almost blocked. And a good one. Thompson Mboga with the fair catch at the 28. A punt of 48 yards and no return. More action tonight.
Big test for them.
Change of quarterbacks in Florida State. The offense moving the ball better than they did. Virginia, the first team in the ACC to beat Florida State. Remember that?
Yep. Brad Smith under center again.
First down at the 29. Smith going up top. Got Victor Cisse, and he was open. It was Derek Johnson trying to cover him, which he can speed-wise, but he was behind a step.
Yeah, Victor had a couple steps on him. He had ran a great route. You get outside of Derek Johnson, and Brad Smith just threw it a little bit over him.
Oklahoma is scared today on the road at Kansas State. Nebraska with a big win over Baylor. And Colorado over Iowa State. Don't forget that matchup, A&M and Oklahoma State, and Missouri taking on Oklahoma State next week. 2nd down. Smith wants to keep it. Hesitation, run out of bounds at the 30 by Cedric Griffin.
You know, initially when he dropped back and he faked the handoff, I thought he was going to probably continue to go back and throw the football, and then it looked like he just was trying to find somewhere to run.
Came to a dead stop at one moment.
You look at it right here, he's going to drop back and under a little bit of pressure again from Brian Robinson.
3rd and 9 from the 30.
Just breaks out and smart. Get out of bounds. Don't take any more hits like he did earlier.
3rd down. Missouri 5 of 14 on 3rd down this afternoon. Out of the gun. Smith flushed out of the pocket. Can't find anybody. Going to throw this one away. Great coverage downfield by the Longhorns.
Again, who's all over his back? Brian Robinson.
Slow to get up is Smith again. Robinson's had a big game. Started with that interception on the 2-yard line that he took in.
Smith here drops back, and once he starts rolling out of the pocket, if he doesn't see anybody down the football field, you just got to throw the ball. You're out of the pocket. You can't take 500 guys, 500 pounds of defensive linemen diving on top of you and trying to sack you. You know, when you're out of the pocket, just throw the ball away.
Waiting to the last minute to see if he could find someone open. There's Aaron Ross back at his own 30. Longhorns went after it. Didn't get there. Ross. No room. Stopped at the 29. Let's go back to New York in Oklahoma. Well, we talked about it. Last week, Jason White, 113 yards.
Right.
So this week, flavor of the week, they don't talk about him for the Heisman. They throw out, you know, 4 other names. You got to start talking about him again.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know how you cannot talk about Jason White, but today, for a major part of that game, it looked like Kansas State just had Oklahoma's number.
Chance Mock back in, gives it off to Benson. A big hole, gain of 9, close to a first down, almost a gain of 10. For Benson on first down. Nino Williams on the hit. Don't forget, coming up later, if time permits, the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report with John, Craig, and Aaron, and highlights and analysis from all the action around the country. 149 and counting.
Yeah, Terry, as soon as you start talking about Heisman, Cedric Benson reels off a 9-yard run.
86 yards on the day. Give it to the up back with Matthews, and that's a Longhorn first down. So Mock, who has struggled in the air, 2 of 8. Maybe Mac Brown's idea is to keep it on the ground as much as they can from this point forward.
Yeah, and you can never be mad at that. I mean, you know, Cedric Benson is arguably the best tailback in the country. You know, you have a good offensive line. You have a team that, like you said, Greg Davis talked about it in the offseason. We knew they knew that they were going to have to be more of a ground attack. They knew because of the receivers they lost, particularly Roy Williams, a standout for the Lions now, that the emphasis of this offense was going to be on running the football.
Texas out of the eye. Benson. Tough running. Not much going on. A gain of maybe 1. Atia Ellison, the 6'4", 300-pound senior from St. Louis, there to stop him. Ellison and C.J. Mosley, tough to run against.
Yeah,
2 solid tackles.
Yeah, 2 big guys who are very, very active. C.J. Mosley, 4 sacks on the season, 9 tackles for loss. So, you know, those 2 guys make a lot of plays. And Atia Ellison, we've called his name a number of times today. 1 sack. 2 guys, both 300-pounders. And this is, you know, defensively, Missouri has never had guys like that historically. So now you look at the statistics for them in the Big 12, and you look at the reasons why. It's because they got strong defensive linemen. They got linebackers that fly around and cornerbacks that like to make plays.
Quick out to Swede, who gets across the 45, maybe to the 46. Marcus King stood him up along with Jason Simpson. Simpson from the Woodlands, Texas. Mentioned the fact that there are 23 players on the Missouri roster from Texas, and it's by design. I mean,
yeah,
Gary Pinkel wants to recruit Missouri first and own his own state, but then after that, come to the Lone Star State because there are players all over the place.
Yeah, you know, you talk to Gary Pinkel, he doesn't want to put too much emphasis on this game. Like if we lose, our season's going to be ruined. But he did say it's really, really critical for us to come in here and have a good showing in Texas. And they already have one of the best players in high school football right now committed to Missouri.
3rd and 4. Long count for Mock. Movement along the right side, and they're going to back up the Longhorns. It had been Justin Blaylock who stood up prematurely.
I love what happens after offsides. Everybody's pointing at the other guy. And it's nobody's fault.
Prior to the ball being snapped, we have a delay of game. There was no false start. The delay occurred first. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty, and we're not going to wind the clock.
All right. So it doesn't matter who moved first or whether there was contact or had the delay of game.
Well, Texas is going to have to go back to throwing the football, you know, particularly now in the third down situation that they're in. They got to get Chance Mock in some type of rhythm. You know, every time they've tried to throw down the football field, it's been incomplete. Now they got a 3rd and long. And I tell you, there's a guy on that defensive side of football for Missouri they got to look out for. Brian Smith is in, and this is the situations that he lives for. 3rd and longs, passing downs.
Smith, number 39, had 3 sacks last week. Tried to come on the corner, couldn't get there. This one complete. Limas Sweed across the 50, and he may have a Texas first down. Quick, strong throw from Chance Mock. Maybe the most impressive throw so far.
Yeah, you get to look at Limas Sweed right here. Just going to make a simple break inside. I mean, you know, you talk about giving the quarterback rhythm. Run simple plays. Run the 5-yard outs. Run slants. Run curls. Things that are easy to complete.
And the crowd starts to come alive. They'll move the chains. 3rd catch for Limas Sweed, just a redshirt freshman out of Washington, Texas, who's got Roy Williams' number. Trying to live up to that. Final play of the quarter if they get it off. And they do. Benson bouncing outside. Cuts back, knifing his way to the 43. Gain of 7. C.J. Mosley wraps him up there. 15 minutes left. Texas up 21-14 here in Austin. Matchup between 2 top 25 clubs. And Missouri, as we said, on top in the North in the Big 12. Texas coming off that loss to Oklahoma. Scoreless 3rd quarter. Remember, we told you Missouri had dominated in the 3rd quarter throughout the year. 35-3, but did not score in the 3rd. Chance Mock gives it off to Cedric Benson, and he's got another Texas first down. So a big pass on 3rd down for Chance Mock just a moment ago, but they're keeping it on the ground during this drive for the most part, Jamal.
Well, yeah, you're in the 4th quarter. You have a 7-point lead. You got great field position, you know, 2nd and 4 or 5 yards, and you have the 2nd leading rusher in all of college football, a guy who's your 4-year senior and has a chance to eclipse so many records and join an elite group of running backs. To be the 6th in college football history to have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So, I mean, this is Cedric Benson's quarter right now.
It's a no-brainer. They operate out of the I now. Jeffrey in motion. Give it off to Benson again, who breaks through and is stopped. That could have been a touchdown. Nino Williams just saved 6 points for Missouri.
Oh, I know. And Cedric probably, you know, that's so tough when is such a good running back. But when one guy gets you down, I know he probably wants that one back. Looked like he was going to set up to make a move and just kind of got caught up at the feet. You see him pound the ground right there like, oh, if I can get another opportunity at that. But Texas has had great running backs. Obviously, you know, Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams, and guy that played with me in Atlanta, Eric Metcalf.
He wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good backfield there. Mock gives it off to Benson again. Why not? Lost it, got it back. That's the one reason why not.
Right.
Because he has been prone to fumble.
Yeah, and it's so tough because, you know, none of them necessarily obvious drops. You get a look right here. Cedric Benson, he makes a nice cut straight up the line of scrimmage, but he's carrying the ball really, really high, and Jason Simpson just does a great job. Everybody
it up.
Defensively, everybody from Missouri is conscious of trying to strip Cedric Benson because he has a tough time with it.
So number 24 taking on number 11. Iowa, Ohio State. Those of you watching that game, we welcome you to Austin, Texas. Opening moments of the 4th quarter. Cedric Benson, the nation's 2nd leading running back, finding his way inside the 15 to the 14. Texas was up 14-0 in this game, but a couple of quick turnovers brought Mizzou back. It was tied at 14. Halftime score was 21-14, and after a scoreless third, Texas is driving. Jamal?
Right, and you know, Cedric Benson just had the fumble, but what do? The next play, you give the ball right back to your guy. I mean, he's the guy for this football team for Texas. He's the best player here. You see 23 rushes, 123 yards, averaging over 5 yards a carry.
Needed 162 to get to 1,000 for the 4th straight year. To the end zone. Touchdown, Texas. And Benson carried the load throughout the entire drive.
You got to give credit on that drive to Jonathan Scott, Casey Studdard, Jason Glenn, Will Allen, and Justin Babcock. They did a great job. Blaylock, excuse me. They did a great job that whole drive of blocking for Cedric Benson, giving him lanes to run, and particularly inside the tackles.
Chance Mock came on at quarterback late in the 2nd quarter for an injured Vince Young. Young looks ready to go back in at this point on the sideline with a helmet on, but it's been mocked throughout the 2nd half. He has not thrown the ball all that well, but you give it off to Cedric Benson, you get out of the way. And that's worked on this drive. So the extra point up and good by Mangum, and the Longhorns extend the lead. 28-14, 12:52 left in Austin. 14 now for the Longhorns here at home, just a week after losing to their arch rivals. The loss to Oklahoma, 5th straight year, but every year they've come back strong after the loss. In fact, over the last 4 years, as you look at the drive, 11 plays, 71 yards. They are 23-1 in the regular season, right, the rest of the way after losing to Oklahoma. That's not a stat Mack Brown wants to continue, though. Alex Woodley bringing it back out from Missouri, still on his feet, finally brought down out at the 23. But Cedric Benson, by the way, only 26 yards away from 1,000 on the year. Pacific Life game summary. Brian Robinson, the pick early right to the house, and then the other one, all these leading to points. So that Aaron Ross bringing it back 64 yards, leading to the Cedric Benson touchdown in the 1st half. That was the story in the 1st half. The 3 turnovers by Texas, the 2 turnovers from Missouri.
Right, it's about capitalizing on the turnovers. In that last drive, you saw 11 plays, 71 yards. Cedric Benson had 59 of those 71 yards.
Smith gives it off to Woods over the right side, out near the 25. Marcus Woods, the redshirt freshman from Farmington Hills, Michigan, who came into the game with 179 yards on the year, the 3rd leading rusher, splitting time with Damian Nash in the backfield.
Yeah, Damian Nash had the nice touchdown run, but we haven't seen a lot of him since.
No.
I'm starting to wonder if there's something wrong with him. He hasn't been in the game at all.
Woods with 35 yards on 12 carries in the game. Quick out, complete. Brad Eckler with the catch, and he's got a 1st down. Drilled up at the 36. 4th catch of the afternoon for Ekwu.
You get a look right here. Brad Smith's going to fake the handoff, gives him an opportunity, gives him a couple more seconds to throw the ball, and he throws out to Brad Ekwu, who makes a nice spin. And if he was in the pros, he probably would have got back up and got the extra yards.
Philip Giger missed the tackle. You don't see that happen very often.
There's Damian Nash right there on the sideline. He's just not playing.
Marcus Woods over the left side. Trips and falls at the 32, tripped up at the 37. But Missouri, a team today offensively, Jamal, that's moved the football throughout most of the game. 3rd quarter notwithstanding, Smith got shaken up, had to come out for a series, or at least a couple of plays, went back in. And now, obviously, here in the 4th, sense of urgency's got to set in.
Yeah, definitely. But it looks like they've gone back to what they started off. They were able to move the ball early on Oklahoma, and they've been able to move the ball consistently throughout this whole game, and they've given Brad Smith an opportunity and time. And what a tremendous
one-handed catch by Cisse, the tight end, wow. Victor Cisse. 2nd catch of the afternoon, but the most impressive one of the day.
Brad Smith is a happy guy right now. You see Brad Smith right here, drops back and throws a bullet to Victor Cisse, who just grabs it with one arm.
And never brought the other arm over.
Wow. He's like, I love that tight end. I love my tight ends.
Got a couple of good ones on the Tiger offense, Cisse and Martin Rucker. In fact, both of these teams use their tight ends often. 3rd and 1. Big play for the offense. Wide open. There is Rucker, the other tight end. Across midfield and inside the 40 to the 39.
Yeah, he had a couple of guys open on that play. You know, he's running down the football field. Victor Cisse came up from the left side and broke across the middle of the field. He was wide open too. He had several options on that play. Did a good job just getting the completion and the first down, and Missouri's on the move now.
Third catch of the afternoon for Rucker. He's got 48 yards in the air today. So Missouri driving on Texas. The Longhorns up by 14 here in the fourth quarter, trying to come back after that loss last week to Oklahoma. Inside give to Nash. Reverse. They're going to try to throw it. Pick it up. Smith dropped it. And he's dropped back at the 47 by Eric Hall. A little too much trickery.
Yeah, you know, you can get away with only so much against a defense that's explosive and quick like Texas, and they tried to do a little bit too much with the razzle-dazzle. Brad Smith drops the ball, and Eric Hall's just right there to make the sack.
Like Smith just took his eyes off it, looked upfield for a moment. And Hall, the junior out of Clarksville, Tennessee, on the hit.
13-yard loss.
So a 13-yard loss. It's back at the 48-yard line. 2nd and 23 out of the gun. Smith with time initially. Over the middle of the field, complete, just past the original line of scrimmage to Thompson-Umboga.
Yeah, they definitely have to keep somebody in Brad Smith's face. You can't give him that opportunity to roll out and be in the pocket and just take his time and pick your defense apart. Get a look at the wide receiver right here, breaking across. Thompson-Umboga just sitting up in the middle of the field. And like I said, Brad Smith rolled out, and he had plenty of time to find anybody he wanted to down the field.
Gain of 15. So it brings up 3rd and 8. This has been an offense that has gone on long drives throughout the season. Not necessarily a big play offense. Umboga hit as soon as he caught the ball and turned around. Big hit from Michael Griffin.
Textbook. You want to talk about how to take a big man down. Michael Griffin, a guy who's only 6 feet, 200 pounds. You see him coming in, closing in on Victor Cisse right there, and just sticks his helmet right in the shoulder pads and wraps him up.
So it brings up 4th down, and for Gary Pinkel, doesn't look like he took long at all to make this decision.
You got to go for it. You're down by 2 touchdowns, about 9 minutes left in this game.
Crowd is into it. Quick throw, complete. Jason Ray, he's got a first down inside the 20 to the 19. First catch of the afternoon for Jason Ray, the redshirt freshman from Porter, Oklahoma.
Again, if you give Brad Smith time, it's 4th and 5. He has nobody in his face. He's going to sit back and be able to pick you apart. Again, just staring at his receiver the whole time on the right side of the football field. And Jason Ray makes a great play, breaks a couple tackles. It's a 14-yard gain.
Oh, that's a huge conversion. Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator, over from the Chiefs, was with the Broncos, the Jets, been in the game a long time.
Larry Dibble's back in the game, defensive tackle for Texas.
So the ball on the Texas 20. Nash gets away from one and then knocked out of bounds. But Aaron Ross was first to get there. He slowed him up enough for his friends. Aaron Harris made sure he didn't get anywhere.
Oh, yeah, Damian Nash gets the ball and breaks it outside, and only gets a 2-yard gain. When you get an opportunity to see that play from a different angle, he might have had a chance if he cuts back inside for a bigger gain.
Well, it's 2nd and 8. Marcus Woods in for Nash now. Bo Veman the lead back. There goes Woods. Closed quickly, but scampers down to about the 13, right behind Veman, the senior and former walk-on.
Yeah, Terry, this is what Missouri's been able to do today. I mean, they don't have the score on their side to show for it, but they've been able to move the ball successfully against Texas. If you take away the turnovers, obviously a big factor in every football game, but Missouri has been able to move the football against Texas.
With some key 3rd down plays, though, defensively for Texas on stops throughout the game. And here's another one. Derek Johnson Everything outside linebacker a bit nicked up on the sideline for this third down play. Woods, big hole through, across the 10. Should have a first down.
You see Damian Nash come back in the game and run the ball, and Marcus Woods running the football.
Woods again gets the call, bursts through near the goal line, down to the 1.
21 on the carry.
It was Marcus Woods getting a lot of work this afternoon. And plenty of time, even though we say you got to have a sense of urgency at this point in the game. Missouri, obviously, if they put it 7 on the board here, they've got plenty of time.
Yeah, you give a lot of credit to Tony Klinker and Tony Palmer and Adam Speaker on that play for opening up a nice hole, and Marcus Woods just sticks his head down and gets the tough yards.
Smith tries to keep it, fighting his way there. He's not going to get there. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Trying to get down. He's got to get down low. Brad Smith gets stopped right there, and everybody, you got a guy like Brad Smith, you figure you're going to roll him out or try to get him on in the corner, and they just run a sneak with him, but he's just got to get down lower.
And the Texas defense needing a stop here on 3rd and goal from the 1. Out of the eye, Nash stopped behind the line of scrimmage and driven back. It was Michael Huff who got there first.
Yeah, Michael Huff makes a tremendous play, fills the gap. That's what you want from a strong safety. When your linebackers or somebody else is not there to make the play, you have to have a solid, strong safety come up, and he makes a great hit. See him, Damian Nash coming on there, breaking to the right side, and Marcus Woods is right there to snack him back.
Timeout, Missouri. They'll have 4th and goal from the 1 when we come back. Play of the game coming up here. 4th and goal from just outside the 1 for Missouri. Michael Huff with a great stop a moment ago. Got shaken up. He's out. Remember, Derek Johnson, the outside linebacker, also out with an injury right now for Texas. Out of the gun. Smith's going to roll. Looks to get there. Touchdown. So a much different approach for Missouri after the timeout.
Yeah, when you got 2 of the best defensive players for Texas off the field, it definitely is a disadvantage for the Texas Longhorns defense. And you look at, you put the ball in the hands of the best player, the playmaker on your football team, and that's Brad Smith.
Let him get outside a little bit and go. So Tannerelli on for the extra point. We got a game with 5:24 left. Smith dropped the snap. Tannerelli couldn't get it after that. It was Brad Smith the hold. It didn't look like it was a bad snap.
No, it didn't at all. Brad Smith just drops the ball, takes his eye off the ball, and Tannerelli tries to kick it in to no avail.
It'll take 6 plus the 2-point conversion for Mizzou. 5:25 left lead, but they just gave up a long drive to Missouri. 16 plays, 77 yards, almost 7.5 minutes off the clock. Here's a little pooch kick on the kickoff. Fielded at the 29. And blown dead.
They must have called
right there.
Fair catch.
Fair catch. Terrell Brown called for it, but then ran with it.
Yeah. I did not clearly see Terrell Brown
I didn't either.
indicate fair catch.
Number 5 signals for a fair catch. Even though he was not the player that caught the ball, it's automatically killed. 1st and 10, Texas.
Good explanation from Randy Crystal.
You cannot trick the kickoff team.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
he started to.
He was trying. I don't know if he was going to call for a fair catch or just kind of get his momentum from starting to run again.
1st and 10, Texas.
One quick wave, and it cost him. So Chance Mock back under center. 5:25 and the 8-point lead. Out of the eye, give it to Benson, keep it on the ground, but right away C.J. Mosley wrapped him up.
Yeah, Terry, you talked a moment ago about Missouri's long drive. It was an exceptional drive, but you cannot have the critical errors where Brad Smith drops the ball and they need every point they can get. And then they missed the field, they missed the point after touchdown, and then you have the 2 critical interceptions early in the game. But when you're on the road in Austin playing against the number 9 team in the country, everything is magnified.
Benson needing 26 yards to reach 1,000 for the season, become the 6th player in the history of Division 1A college football to do that 4 straight years. 137 yards on the day. Straight ahead, a gain of 1, maybe 2. That's it. Again, Mosley making sure it doesn't get any further. So very conservative Mack Brown is on offense on this drive. That's what got him there the last drive.
Right.
He may have to change right now.
Well, you know, this Missouri football team knows that they're going to have to run the ball to have any success. Chance Mock did have the 3rd-yard play. You see Cedric Benson right here, Mosley. These guys are going after the ball.
Yeah.
You know, they're going after the ball. 10 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries, a couple fumbles today by Cedric Benson. Every time he touches the football, they're going to be guys from Missouri trying to not just tackle him, hold him up and strip the football from him.
He's got 3 fumbles today. Got 2 of them back, though. Off to 1 up. So 3rd and 7. See if they open it up a little bit. Mock, busted play, nowhere to go, down at the 30. Brings up 4th down. What a quick 3 and out for Texas.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in that football player. Why would they even try to call a play like that? They're deep in their own territory in the 30-yard line on the 3rd and 6. You figured you'd give Chance you know, give him an opportunity, drop back, maybe throw a slant or a hitch or something. He did a good job on the last time on 3rd and long.
Man, bobbled the snap a little bit initially too. So Richmond McGee trying to punt it away to Thompson and Boga.
If Thompson ever needed a big play on a punt return, it was right now.
2nd leading return man coming into the game in the Big 12. Hasn't had much of a chance today, though. Texas calls the timeout. They'll talk things over. With 3:10, 4th and 9 for the Longhorns here, as Mboga is back at his own 25.
Missouri, Thompson Mboga, number 87.
A little bit of pressure by the Missouri Tigers on this play. Pull out of it.
McGee's been good throughout the season. End over end punt, and Mboga a chance to return now. Sidesteps 1, but met by a host of tacklers from Texas out to the 33. Punt of 43 yards, 7-yard return. Tigers have a chance, though, when Missouri takes over at their own 34-yard line. Texas needing a defensive stand. 8-point lead for the Longhorns. Damian Nash in at tailback. Brad Smith out of the gun. 1st and 10, swinging out to Nash. Got some room. Across the 40, carrying tacklers for a gain of 9. It'll be 2nd and 1. Don't forget, tomorrow, on ABC a couple of weeks, Tom Lehman, Brent Geiberger tied at the moment. In the 3rd round, they're done with their 3rd rounds in Greensboro. So the action coming your way tomorrow on ABC. Damian Nash carrying for the 1st down. They move the sticks. Lehman and Geiberger both at 12 under, but you've got 4 others at 11 under, just a shot behind. Chris Smith right there, 2 shots behind. Good finish. Set up for Sunday on ABC. Smith under pressure. Flushed out, down he goes at the 38. Roderick right with that high ankle sprain and all got there, and Aaron Ross flushed him out initially.
Get a shot here of Brad Smith rolling out. Gets a little bit of pressure there from Robinson and rolls out. And Roderick Wright just stretches out and gets a hold of his leg and gets a sack.
2nd and long. Smith to throw. Out of bounds, incomplete. And Victor Cisse may have caught the ball, but he was standing out of bounds.
Yeah, and I tell you what, on that last play, if Roderick Wright doesn't get that sack, Brad Smith's got a couple players breaking open up the field, and he would have had the sideline to himself.
And watch his feet. They're going to call. They actually called it initially a complete pass, and they talked about it and threw the flag. And that's why, because his feet were out of bounds. And we'll get the explanation from Andy Crystal at some point.
Illegal touching on the offense. The receiver went out of bounds on his own, came back in, first one to touch the ball. No penalty, just a loss of down, 3rd down.
There you go. Thrifty Car Rental postgame report coming your way if time permits. 1:43 left in this one. Gary Pinkel's squad trying to move the football, but struggling on this drive. 3rd and 17 coming up. 3 receivers set. Nash out of the backfield. Time for Smith. Overthrows Thompson and Bogan. Brings up 4th down.
Yeah, and he had Thompson and Bogan right there in the hole on the hash is open, and he just threw it a little bit too strong. See Brad Smith right here, a little bit of time moving around the pocket and just throws it over Thompson and Bogan.
Wide open.
Who did not look very, very happy at the end of that play.
No, he was not. Wayne Akina, Greg Robinson, the co-defensive coordinators. They need a stand here, and it could come down to this play. On 4th down, Smith hit as he throws, incomplete. Texas takes over.
Brad Smith's got to know on the 4th and long that there's going to be a blitz coming. He's so dangerous. He's so dangerous in the pocket, and he's been moving around and been able to make plays with his legs. But you see the blitz coming, and he's just standing in the pocket and just takes a really big hit right there.
Killebrew and Satchel sandwiched him. So the Longhorns take over, and the defense holds. They had the defensive stand at the goal line, eventually gave up on 4th and goal from just outside the 1. The touchdown to Smith, but it was pretty impressive to that point. And now they not only stop, but back up the Missouri offense.
Yeah, they did. It was a 4th and long play, and Brad Smith had been, in the previous plays, he had been doing a good job of pointing out where the guys were coming from on that particular play. Just went through his normal sets, and they got a clear lane at him.
Mock gives it to Benson, trying to run out the clock. Ahead for a couple. That's it.
Now they're screaming on the sideline, hold on to the ball.
Stop on number 3, David Ritchie.
Which is pertinent because there have been times when Cedric has not done that. To 4 and 2. Lost to Troy, of course, the upset earlier this season. And now perhaps here in Austin. Benson looks to get outside. Drives it back inside the 30 to the 28.
Stay in bounds, that's what they're saying.
And he did. Move the chains because got the 1st down, so the clock is stopped momentarily.
You can see every time Cedric Benson breaks outside, and right before he comes into a pile, he starts to put extra protection over the football. Like you said, you know, he's had the fumbles today, and he knows the guys on that Missouri team are going to be coming after him, trying to strip the ball.
150 yards for Benson. Needs 12 more to go over 1,000 or get to 1,000 this season. Not going to get the chance as Mock goes to a knee. So the clock will run out, and Texas with the defensive stand on the last drive. It came down to the last drive of the game for Missouri, Jamal.
Yeah, it did. You know, I was very impressed, Terry, today with Missouri. They were able to move the football defensively. They came in with all the stats, #1 in the Big 12. And really, outside of Cedric Benson starting to roll in the 2nd half, they did a good job. They had the trick play where Vince Young had the great 50-yard catch. But other than those big plays, they did a really good job. They showed up, and I don't really see this football team losing a lot of games.
Be interesting to see who starts at quarterback next week for Mac Brown, though. Our Chevy players of the game, Brad Smith and Cedric Benson. 150 yards on the ground for Benson, and Smith 237 total yards. Did throw a couple of picks that were crucial in the 1st half, though. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. And Benson certainly big, not only taking it to the end zone, but on a couple of drives where I think it settled down this Texas team.
Yeah, they did. And, you know, and that was the thing. You know, Cedric Benson wasn't running the ball a lot early in this game in the 4th quarter, but then he got going as the 2nd quarter, the 3rd quarter, and the 4th quarter came. He started getting strong and running in between the tackles, and Oklahoma started to exert their will physically on this Missouri team.
Still got a quarterback controversy here in Texas, though, and they weren't that impressive throwing the football.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Everybody was calling for Chance Mock to come in and throw, you know, be the quarterback and saying move Vince Young, the wide receiver. Yeah, he had the great catch, but Chance Mock he didn't come in, and he wasn't tremendously effective throwing the ball either.
The eyes of Texas here in Austin. So the Longhorns move to 5-1 and 2-1 in the Big 12. Missouri falls to 4-2, 2-1 in the Big 12. They go to Oklahoma State, play Oklahoma State next week, and then 4 straight in the Big 12 North. Nebraska, Kansas State, Kansas, and Iowa State. And Texas with Texas Tech, Colorado, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Texas A&M left on their schedule. Longhorns still trying to stay in the hunt. So that's your final score. Texas 28-20 with the win, hanging on at home over Missouri. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Search ABC Sports. Don't forget Al Michaels, John Madden in the booth in St. Louis Monday night as the Bucks battle the Rams. Once again, 28-20, Texas a winner at home. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports Championship Television. Goodbye, everybody.